Steph, you got any questions for him on that?
Oh man, I'm just happy. I'm a diehard Lakers fan.
Hey, it's FYF Sports. We back again with another exclusive interview, man. And
Oh yeah.
we've been getting blessed, and we've been able to pull off some great interviews. And today is actually probably going to be one of the best ones. I'm not going to lie, Steph. But before we actually get into the heart of the interview, and we introduce the special guest today, Steph, I want you to go ahead and do what you normally do. Go ahead and run down the show sponsors. Let us know what we got, man. Like I said, just go ahead and give them their credit for what they bring to the show.
Most definitely. So I do want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, which is going to be you guys, the viewers. So we definitely appreciate you. Definitely enjoy the show. We do have a great show today, so I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get some insight and ready to get it rolling, man.
All right, man. So again, still no official sponsors. So that's just Steph's nice way of saying we don't have no sponsors, man. So hey, but again, we do see everyone's support on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Even with the subscriber count on YouTube, man, it's been going up a lot faster than we imagined. So again, we appreciate you guys for supporting us on all of those platforms. But today, again, we got a special guest here. Steph, this is our first former NBA player for the show. And this guy was drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers in 1998. And again, man, he's gonna bring a very, very interesting perspective to try to help us answer a lot of questions that we've been getting. And again, we want to hear from him, man, his coaching background and how he kind of got started. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him into the show today. His name is Casey Shaw. Most recently he's now been hired on as one of the assistant basketball coaches at Grand Canyon University. So Casey, man, just give us a quick rundown of how you even got into coaching, and just let us know how you even got started.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. Lamont, Steph, I appreciate you guys. And when I heard Lamont, you were the coach of the Grand Canyon Club. I knew I had to jump on with you. And we'll talk some hoops. I'll
Yes.
cover your philosophies for how you run your stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
With the crew. No, I'm really happy to be here with you guys. So for me, it's been a long basketball journey. I started at University of Toledo. That's where I went to college.
Yep.
And had an opportunity to be drafted after college. Was real excited about that. I was the 37th pick in 1998, which happens to be the same draft class as the current head coach of Grand Canyon men's basketball team, Bryce Drew. He was the 16th pick in that same draft. So I've known Bryce for a long time. And we're thrilled to be at Grand Canyon. It is just feel like it's really a sleeping giant for an opportunity because there's so many not just resources but support from the fans and the administration, the school, and the city of Phoenix. And so it's just really exploding and growing, and it's easy to sell, honestly, to recruits because I think a lot of kids would love to play in an atmosphere like we have at Grand Canyon. And so I had a 14-year professional career. I only played 1 year in the NBA. I had the best seat in the house. And I got to cheer for Allen Iverson for a year. And but one of the things that really I think changed me that season was for the first time I got a chance to play for Larry Brown. And Coach Larry Brown is a legend. And I just watching him manage those personalities and those play. We had a good basketball team, really good players, and seeing how he pulled pieces together and how he inspired and motivated, and then the system that he had in place. I just learned a lot from him, and that really sparked my interest and began to think about, boy, what do I want to do when the ball stops bouncing? And so started thinking about coaching at that point. After one season in the NBA, though, I went overseas. I told my agent, hey, I'll go overseas for a year. I didn't get to play much this year. I'll go overseas, and then I'll come back to the NBA. So I signed in Italy, and my wife and I went over. We loved it, and I ended up staying long term. And we had our children. I had 4 children. My daughter is actually going to transfer to Grand Canyon. She was a freshman last year at Belmont. She's going to transfer to Grand Canyon. And then I had 3 sons in high school. So we started having our kids over there and ended up staying. I played in Italy for 10 years and in Spain for two or three years, I guess. And it was great. So basketball is in my blood. I'm 6'10". You can't tell in a Zoom call, but 6'10" and love the game. I've really played all my life, I'm just thrilled to be able to continue to pass on some of the things I learned as a player from some great coaches throughout my career, and still be a part of the game.
Hey man, that's, like I said, that's beautiful right there. A long basketball career. And again, we just recently talked to a former coach, Mark Nelson, and one of the main things we brought up to him was, and we said that one of the things I admired at least about him most was the fact that he was married during the course of his coaching career. He's been married for 30 years. So to see you doing the same thing is like, people don't understand when you're coaching and you're trying to raise a family. It's probably 2 of the hardest things to mix, coaching and bringing up a family. So when you're able to do that and long term, and then like I said, you're bringing your daughter, she's transferring over here to GCU. That's beautiful, man. When you can maintain your family structure and you can mix coaching into that as well. And then again, you still look like you could probably play. We might have you jump on our. We got a team that we have, our Sunday league. We need you, Casey.
Now the problem is, at 6'10", everybody thinks I got to go down. I don't bang in the post anymore. I'm just strictly perimeter in my life.
As long as you can get a rebound, it helps.
That's right.
No, but so
you're right about the family. I just want to comment on that.
Yeah.
My wife and I are going to be married for 25 years
Wow.
this summer, and we've bounced around a lot, but she is really a rock, and for not only for me, but also for our 4 children. So I'm really blessed.
yeah, that was like, and I could imagine myself if I were ever a head coach in that position like Bryce. That's got to be one of the things you got to consider when you're looking at hiring a coach, that stability, because that's going to help as well. So again, that's really good that you got that going for you. One of the questions about GCU that I've been getting asked a lot is about an incoming player, and I want to know what you guys expect from him. I know you guys got some big transfers coming in, but the guy that's everybody's been asking about is Jaden Stone, the freshman. What do you think he can bring to the program? Do you think he'll be an instant impact guy, or is he somebody you see helping GCU later in the future?
Well, first of all, let me say Jaden. We've known Jaden for a long time. We recruited Jaden when we were at Vanderbilt. I was on staff with Coach Drew at Vanderbilt in the SEC, and we started recruiting Jaden. I mean, golly, he was sophomore maybe. I think it was sophomore year. So we watched him and had seen him before he'd actually come on campus to Vanderbilt. And there's a couple parts to Jaden I'll touch on real quick that we love. One is obviously his ability on the floor. He's an athlete. He's an athletic scoring guard. So he can get his shot off. He's quick with got a great handle and a really good feel for the game. He's bouncy too. We feel like he's probably at this point in his natural position is probably a scoring kind of 2 guard. There is potential we could even move him to the point, and perhaps even the 3. He came on campus a couple of days ago. He just got here, and I think he's grown a little bit.
Wow.
Jaden's from Australia. He had a great high school career. At one point, I mean, he was a top 60 player in the country. He had offers from the likes of Auburn. He visited Michigan State. I mean, he was a highly talented recruit. But the thing we loved about him the most, and I think what intrigued Jaden was he is a man of faith, and he's not ashamed of that. He will tell you right from the beginning that he's a follower of Jesus Christ, and that's something that we have in common. Our staff and Jaden, I think he appreciated the style of Coach Drew's coaching, where he is a teacher at heart, Coach Drew is also a man of faith. We have great practices, high energy. There is discipline in our practice, but it's done from a biblical perspective. In other words, you're not going to get cussed out at practice. We have no cussing rule in practice for both coaches and players. So
wow, okay,
yeah, and and I think it's something looking at the school at Grand Canyon and the mission of the school that also I think really impressed Jaden, and so we're thrilled to have him. I think GCU fans are going to love not only watching him on the court, but seeing the impact that he has off the floor as well.
Yeah,
just to give a little insight as well on just the recruiting aspect. Just for young kids, because we get a lot of times where we get kids that's wondering how they get recruited, and what are some of the things that you look for in your doing your recruiting? What are some of the things that you look for? Like what are some of the prerequisites that you
Yeah, Steph, that's a great question, and I get asked that quite often, and I'll tell you, so many kids today think it's all about their numbers, and I think AAU in America has really hurt the game of basketball because it really shapes kind of the kids' perspective on how to play, and a lot of kids are just looking to go out there and score. Well, yeah, we love it when you can score the basketball, right? I mean, that's you win games that way, but I'm also looking for character and leadership and coachability. Are they a good teammate? Does he give high fives to his team? So when we go and evaluate players, I can look from the warm-ups and say, okay, he's athletic enough. He's got the genetics to play Division I basketball, right? I mean, that's easy. That's not, that stuff. But there are things that separate, and they're intangible things. And again, it's character and leadership. And so the small things I look for are, again, high fives to teammates. Honestly, I love it. When a player comes off the floor, is he coming off pouting because he's getting taken out of the game? Does he walk to the bench, or does he jog to the bench? And then when he gets to the bench, does he give all his teammates a high five with kind of a smile on his face? That means something to me. When his coach corrects him, does he listen? Does he look his coach in the eyes? Because all of those things translates to a winning culture. And if you've got selfishness and you've got a player that's not very coachable, it's going to destroy your locker room, and it makes it really tough to win.
Yeah,
that's what I tell a lot of players. You have to be coachable. That's a must. You have to be coachable, because I put it in. I try to give them the insight of how I messed up my everything. I wasn't coachable. I wasn't even good until my freshman year, but I was so bad. People didn't want to play with me and things of that nature. And I got so good, I became cocky. I didn't want to listen. I pouted when I got off. You had to get off the court. But my coaches always seen things in me, but I didn't see it for myself. I just thought, I just have to go. I do my own thing. I'll do my own thing. I'll listen, but on the court, I'll do my own thing. It doesn't work that way. And I see a lot of players today that's like how I was. So.
Well, and that's stuff. I mean, that's you have to compensate for those things. I mean, you have to be so genetically gifted. Because there's just so many good players today. The game, when I was coming out in the '90s, like not everybody could pass, shoot, and dribble like they can today. I mean, you go on YouTube and you see all these videos. Like none of that. Like today, everybody's skilled. Everybody can shoot threes. I mean, I go in these gyms. I'm amazed. Every player on the court can shoot threes. It's just like the skill level today. There's so many trainers. It's amazing. So how do you separate yourself today? Either you got to be 7'1" and be able to run like a gazelle and jump out of the gym, can show those character qualities, and that will help separate you, especially in an AAU environment.
Most definitely. You definitely have to stand out.
Yeah.
Do something other kids not doing. If that's setting a great screen, that rebound, playing defense, things of that nature. So
Yeah.
Right. So we're going.
Don't have that character.
So we gotta keep it moving a little bit. We're gonna transition into another aspect of basketball where obviously we've been spending a lot of time talking about the situation going on in the NBA with the players. Half of the players wanting to play, half of the players not wanting to play, or they want to play under certain circumstances. You know, how do you feel about this current rift in the NBA with regards to, you know, Kyrie Irving leading a coalition of players who kind of want to sit out and want to see some things change, or LeBron who's wanting to play and use his influence on the court to inflict that change?
Yeah, you know, well, first of all, I mean, for me, when I retired from playing, I was really passionate about seeing guys being able to transition, you know, from the game of basketball to life after basketball. So I actually served on the Retired Players Association Board of Directors for about 8 years. I was the treasurer of our, so the NBA Retired Players. There's actually an association of NBA Retired Players. We do, it's awesome. You know, you do programming and different education and things like that. To, you know, just because guys may want to get done, they may want to go into business, or maybe they want to go into coaching or finance or whatever it might be. And so figuring out ways to help guys move into the areas that they want to and do it successfully. And so I've been passionate about that, to see guys be able to take this game and do a couple things with it. Maximize your opportunity, your career earnings, right? Like, don't, you know, be smart with the resources, because pro careers are short. Yeah. So when you can save as much as you can, put it away, and you know, basically provide for your family for the rest of your life off of this short career. I mean, I think that's important, number one. And number two, to see guys give back to their communities and to impact, because there is a platform. Basketball provides an opportunity to do good, to give back to your family, your communities, your neighborhoods. And so, you know, when I hear LeBron and Kyrie, and they have different opinions and different views, but I love the heart of it is that we want to help. We want to give back. Like, it's in different ways and different perspective. But, you know, I feel like, you know, the NBA, and maybe with the leadership of guys like LeBron, you know, guys are talking and they're communicating, and they're passionate about using this platform. And I think that's awesome. Like God has given these guys this platform, this ability, these talents, and to use it for good for the society is a great thing. And I mean, even our college guys, you know, it's like, guys, you know, yeah, people are watching you, and boy, what an opportunity to impact young people who look up to you and want to be where you are. And so I would just say, I mean, I think it's good that we're having this dialogue and communication, and these guys are stepping up and kind of sharing opinions and having a voice when it comes to these important matters.
Yeah, I like I say, with the issue, I don't really choose a side, because there really isn't any right or wrong. Everybody's going to have a different perspective. And then I think the person who has the toughest job is Adam Silver. He has to capitulate to two different sides. He has to find a way to make two sides happy, and so I'm curious to see how he's going to make it work, and if it's going to cause a rift in the NBA going forward in the future. But and it's still on the NBA. One thing we do know is that I presume that the NBA will resume, and with players coming off of this long delay with COVID-19 and then these social issues, you know, what teams do you think might have the most advantages if they come back and play in this type of format? And then who do you predict could potentially win it all?
Well, like you said, I mean, this is a crazy moment with this coronavirus, you know, and obviously then the societal issues that we're facing and have to work through, and so kind of all of this intersecting at once. It's just amazing. One of our assistant coaches, Ed Schilling, you might have to have him on the program at some point. He his wife is a coach for the Indiana Fever, and so the WNBA team.
Okay.
And so we kind of get an inside look at what the WNBA is doing, which is very similar to what the NBA will do. I mean, obviously they're the way that they're going to play in this bubble. I think the WNBA is going to be at IMG and IMG Academy. So there's just a lot of dynamics to that. How are they going to keep the guys isolated in their teams? How do they prepare? It's just a lot of questions. So that's going to throw a wrench into seeing who is going to really rise to the top and be able to overcome this adversity, because it is an adversity. I mean, it's going to be difficult for guys. It's going to be something that they're not used to. But with all that being said, it is hard to bet against what the Lakers put together this year with the talent that they have. So if those guys can. And I really believe LeBron's leadership is second to none.
Yeah.
So when he, I think he can kind of push his guys in the right direction to get through these different circumstances. And I think they're going to be tough to beat at the end.
Steph, you got any questions for him on that?
Oh man, I'm just happy. I'm a diehard Lakers fan. So just to hear him say that, it's like man. But yeah, I definitely believe just his work ethic and how he rubs off, how that rubs off on other players. I feel as the Lakers automatically. I don't really see too many other teams, but. Then again, with what's going on, it's just hard to tell. And I'm hearing like the corona just spiked up out there as well in Florida. So, I mean, it'd be interesting just to see how everything wraps up. I mean, like you said, it's crazy times we're living in, man. 2020 it's on a whole nother level.
It really is, and I hope that we at least get a season. I mean, Adam Silver, like you said, he's the man. He's got a tough responsibility, and so it'll be fun to see how this all plays out.
The great thing about that is, he's understanding of player situations if they don't want to play or not. So, I mean, you can't get that from everybody. So
he is, in my opinion, the best commissioner of any of the major sports leagues. He really has a pulse, and he's got great dialogue, communication with the players. Usually, the commissioner is so. They get you get paid by the owners, so usually there's more conflict. But he does a really nice job of hearing the players and just listening, I think, in my opinion.
All right, so we always ask, especially when we bring in basketball experts and coaches. I mean, there's been a hot topic in the debate scene, at least for us, with a lot of the guys that we debate with, and one of the biggest questions is been on one single player. And you would be the best to answer this question. I feel like out of everybody we've spoken to, you're the most qualified, primarily because of the era that you played in and now the era that you're coaching in. So you kind of see it from two perspectives. So we want your perspective on Draymond Green of the Warriors. It's a two-part question.
Okay.
Do you think he's a bit overrated? I know he's accumulated a lot of accolades for what he does defensively and how he's contributed to the Warriors' success. Do you feel like that has been overrated and he's got a lot of those awards and accolades because of the players he's surrounded by? And then the second part of the question is, do you think his style of play could transition or correlate into the 90s style of play? And I know you were in on the end of the 90s era, but, I mean, you played college ball and things of that nature, so you understand how the 90s game was played. So just kind of give us your answer on those questions.
Yeah, well, first of all, when you were setting that question up, I thought you were going to ask me the LeBron or MJ debate.
Nah. Oh, that's easy. That's an easy answer.
Right.
But, Draymond, I've loved watching Draymond since he was in college. I mean, he plays with a passion and an energy that, man, it's what's made him so successful. Because
and I try to communicate this to players. You got to bring that every single day to practice. Anytime you step on the floor, when you bring passion and energy and excitement, it lifts the game up, not only for yourself, but for every player that you're on the floor with, your teammates, and it gives you a chance to win. You need that on a team. You need that in the locker room. You need that every day of practice. And when you can find a guy like that brings that, again, it just lifts everybody up. As far as, I love his game. I'm a Midwest guy, so it's kind of like a lunch pail mentality. Put on your work boots and come to work and do the dirty job. I mean, that's kind of what I did, honestly. I mean, he goes after every rebound. He can set screens. He passes well. He moves the ball well. There's times where his passion and excitement probably get the best of him, and it can be a detriment because it goes so far where he's getting, the technicals and stuff like that. I wish he could kind of harness it a little bit more and in a good way, because sometimes those things. But to your point, I think he is a great player. Could it translate to the 90s? The 90s was so physical. So to give you an idea, when I came out and was drafted, one of the things that teams looked at for me is a player who was 6'10". When I had 11 workouts with 11 different NBA teams, and because I was trying to slide into that first round, and there were some projections that had me in the first round. So I worked out basically with every team that was picking from 18 to 30. I mean, I was all over in there in those teams, and so. But in all those workouts, they didn't bring me out and put me through a ball handling NBA 3-point shooting. It was physicality. It was dunking medicine balls. It was in the weight room. It was because for big guys, if you were 6'9" or taller, you were expected to get in there, and it was physical. I mean, physical. So it was a lot of banging and moving bodies and stuff like that. Draymond plays physical. He is not afraid of contact. So his game probably would have translated very well, especially when you think about allowing him to have more contact and physicality. He probably would have had to put on some weight. He probably would have put on weight and that kind of stuff. But, he could have been like a Charles Oakley type guy.
See, I said the same exact thing.
We debate with guys that look at Draymond Green from the perspective that he doesn't have the big stat line. And I'm early on in the coaching, and I know you've been in the coaching for a while now and a player, and we both know that for certain players in certain roles, stat line does not matter at all. It's about all the intangibles. And I think he's one of those players where his stat line is not going to show his actual value on the court. And so that can diminish his value to the average fan. Or the people who don't really see, a lot of the stuff, like those intangible, those small things that you don't get credit for.
Yeah, there's guys that just win. My favorite teammate that I ever had was a guy nobody's heard of, but, you've heard of his son. His name is Melvin Booker, and his son is Devin Booker. Melvin Booker was the teammate that I ever played with because he just won. And everywhere he went, and he just did. And this stat, when I played with him, he was in his mid-30s, and we were older, but he just led and he won. And Draymond's got a little bit. I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, maybe it is the other guys he played with, but he's won.
Hey.
But just like we talked about earlier, separating yourself.
Yeah.
You have to separate yourself. I mean, you don't have a lot of players that's going to die for loose balls, take charges and things of that nature. Because I know I was one of the players that I wasn't doing that. So.
Hey, well, we definitely got to start bringing the show to a close, man. Coach, we really appreciate you just taking the time to come on the FYF Sports and just kind of share some of your knowledge with us. I really, personally, I can't wait to see you guys in action this year. So I'm always watching from that perspective. And again, I feel like I have the most immaculate offense in club basketball. So if you guys want that secret, I'll definitely share it with you guys. But as we close the show, Coach, don't go anywhere. We still need you once we close the show. But me and Steph, we got to wrap this up here in a second. But Steph, man, that was another great interview, man.
Another great interview.
And I can't wait to see how our fans react to this one. And those guys that we debate with, Ticket TV, Too Raw for TV, we have another coach that debunks your theory that Draymond Green is trash. I mean, again, but you know, again, hey, everybody out there, we want to let you know that we appreciate the support, man. We appreciate the support on all social media platforms, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube. Steph, you got anything as we close?
Man, I'm just thankful, man. Sometimes, I mean, I'm grateful for the subscribers and support we're getting, because like sometimes I'm on these interviews and these calls and I'm like in shock. Like sometimes I don't really believe it, but man, like if you haven't been to a GCU game, oh man, that crowd is crazy.
That's true.
See, I always see it from the TV screen. I never seen it live. So if it's crazy from the TV screen, I can just imagine live. Man.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, man.
Good game, man.
But again, you guys, man, we appreciate all the support, man. And we're going to keep bringing the content. We're going to keep trying to keep the most fresh information out there for you from a more unique perspective. And again, we don't just like to talk about it. We like to bring people in who can also give you their own perspective on all of these topics. So we can't wait to bring that next episode to you. But again, we appreciate Coach Shaw. And again, Steph, appreciate you for jumping in as well. Hey, it's FYF Sports. And
comment, subscribe.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
That notification bell.
Yes, sir.
And go talk on Facebook.
Yes, you definitely reach out to us on all social media platforms. And you reach out to us, we're going to reach back. FYF Sports, man. We out.